I am going to start the New Year's off right with some beef. Yes, I have got a 4-pound USDA Prime Tomahawk Ribeye. I'm gonna make a seasoning for it, get it out on the Weber Kettle, grill it up, so I can start 2021 out right. I realized recently I had never done a video with a tomahawk steak, so it's time to fix that. And first step, as almost always, we got to get the seasoning ready. Now today I'm going to be using my mortar and pestle because we're going to be grinding this down from some harder ingredients. And we're going to start with 1 tablespoon of a very coarse, rocky sea salt. Next we're going to add 1 tablespoon of some black peppercorns. Next up, half a tablespoon of dried juniper berries. If you've never used juniper berries, you can usually find them in some specialty markets, the dried version of them. Really nice flavor. Finally, we're going to be adding 1/2 teaspoon of a dark and smoky barbecue rub from Flatiron Pepper Company. Now, if you can't get this or don't have it, just use some red pepper flakes. This is really just to bring some heat, and I really like this rub. Now we're just going to break it all down, crush it. You could also throw it in a spice grinder, but I haven't given my mortar and pestle some love recently, so we got to use it. Make it feel useful. That's looking good to me, and it's already smelling great. Can get some of that peppery flavor coming off of it here in the air. Let's get our tomahawk steak out here. And here is our steak. I mean, this thing pretty much has its own zip code. Now the surface is a little dry. It's been in the refrigerator, so I want to rub it down with a little bit of olive oil before we get the rub on. I don't think I mentioned it. This rub, the seasoning's going to stay on this overnight in the refrigerator. I'm going to cook this up tomorrow on the Weber Kettle, so we're going to let all these seasonings have a chance to sort of absorb into the meat here. Get a little bit of olive oil on here. Get my cutting board nice and dirty today. Let's get some seasoning on here. Now we're going to go down the bone here, down the rib. Get a little on there. There's some meat. It's not a lot. But this is a big hunk of steak, so it can take a lot of seasoning here. And when we're looking probably 2.5 inches thick here. And I'm not doing any trimming to this, obviously. I'm leaving everything that came with this steak. Last little bit on here. There we go. This is going to go on a rack on a tray in the refrigerator, draped loosely with some plastic wrap. And tomorrow we're going to turn this into a feast. As I'm standing here bathed in post-oak smoke, which smells pretty good, our tomahawk ribeye is on the grill. The grill temp I'm going for today is between 250 and 300. We are reverse searing this at 110 degrees internal on that steak. That's when I'm going to sear it. The ultimate finish temp for me is probably 130-ish. Then we'll let it rest, and then we will slice into it. So I'll see you back here when it's time to sear this tomahawk. All right, we just hit 110 internal. Let's check our tomahawk and sear it. That is looking gorgeous. All right, let's give this a quick sear. I'm gonna remove my temperature probe. Sear our steak. Gonna give it a couple minutes on each side. Let's give this a flip. gonna get my temperature probe back in here. Get the lid back on and let this finish up. I don't think I mentioned it at the beginning, but I am using the Vortex, as you saw when I was lighting it. That's great for creating 2 zones and for having that sear ability. If this was going to be a longer cook, I would have used the slow and sear, but the Vortex works great for this. If you can see me through the smoke, I'll see you back here when we hit right around 130. All right, we are at 128.9 degrees. Want to check this with the Thermopen, confirm our temperature, and then we'll pull it off if it's ready. That's looking pretty gorgeous. Let's see here. Let's just get a temp down here. I don't know if you can see that. That's showing 130 right there, 129. All right, I'm happy with that temp. This is coming off. It's going inside. It's going to rest loosely tented under foil for about 15-20 minutes, and then we're going to have a taste. All right, here it is. It's been resting for just about 20 minutes, actually. Really good looking steak. Now, what I'm going to do is sort of the classic way you do this, which is separate it from the bone first, then we'll cut some slices, and then maybe to make it look pretty, we'll shove it back up against the bone. Really, at the end of the day, we're just going to be eating this steak. But let's cut into it. So we're going to work our way along the bone here. We're just going to temporarily set the bone aside, and we're just going to make some slices. Let's just go straight across the middle here. Let's see how we did. Oh yeah, I'm liking that. Let's cut some slices. This section down here. Let's get onto this side. Now let's see if we can reassemble everybody with the bone. Bone tucked back in here. It's not a bad approximation, but oh man, this smells good. I'm gonna take a couple slices out of here because it is time to taste. Some good slices here. This came out just medium rare. I always get people say, when they see the video, go, that looks like it's more like medium. Unfortunately, when you're using video lights, it can kind of desaturate things a little bit, but this is really good right on that medium rare. Let's dig in. We'll go right here. Let's see. This is definitely a treat. It's New Year's Eve, kind of a special little meal we're having during the day here, and man, is it worth it. Just fantastic flavor all the way through. I love experimenting with rubs. Using some of those juniper berries in there really brings out a unique flavor in this. And also plenty of salt. We used a whole tablespoon of salt here. This is a big piece of meat, it can take it. And the seasoning is just right on. I was almost gonna make a side dish to go with this, but then I thought, why? This is really gonna be a meal in itself. I could add things to it, mushrooms, potatoes, whatever, but this is enough for me. So there it is. Tomahawk ribeye on the Weber Kettle. Those go perfectly together. You don't have to go fancy. I did it indirect until we reached 110, seared it, and let it finish up indirect again until it hit about 130. To me, that's a perfect steak.